Time now for a bit of weathering. Now the model I'm going to be working on is this one here, which is a O gauge 7mm foot model of a Lands Bulldog single cylinder tractor. This thing came from a part work and is a very impressive little model, but it comes very, very clean because that's how the collectors like them. And so I've weathered it with a little bit of rust paint and a little bit of dry brushing just to tone it down a bit. And I thought it would be time to just do some of the finishing touches. The thing with O gauge is that dirt actually needs a bit of texture as well as just the colour. So I'm going to be looking at a range of weathering powders. The weathering powders I'm going to be looking at are the ones here from Mr. Hobby in Japan. New to me, but these are imported by Albion Alloys, and they've sent us a set to have a go with. Powdered pastels, they say, which basically are weathering powders, and there are 2 packs, and you can see a variety of colours there. So let's have a look inside the first pack. Nice little jars. That's going to be quite easy to use. And we've got some good colours here. That's a sort of dirty brown, a dark brown. Always use loads of that. A sort of peachy colour, which would be quite good for lighter muddy colours, and a yellow, which is presumably a sort of sand colour. These are aimed at military modelers, so sand obviously being a big thing for them. And in pack 2 we have sort of orangey rust colour. This says charcoal black, which will be a sort of off black, useful for sooty colours, and light grey. Again, nice, useful, a set of nice, useful colours there. Okay, right, here we have my my model, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dust it with a bit of weathering powder just to give it a bit of texture. Now, looking at photos of these things, the rusty areas tend to be around the front and anywhere the muck and dirt that can collect. So let's go for this slightly peachy colour, which will be quite nice for sort of newish rust, and also dust coming on these things. I'm using a little brush from Humbrol, and this is one of their stipple brushes. I have matte varnished this tractor already, so hopefully the powder should stick to it. They are they're certainly very, very fine. And I'm going to mix in a little bit of the sort of much brighter red there as well. That's very, very bright. So perhaps be a bit careful with that, but we can't really go wrong with a bit of dark brown. Now, I like the fact that these are supplied in pots. It makes them a lot easier to use and a lot easier to keep clean. Oh, look at that, that brown's lovely on there. And I'm trying to get it into some of the nooks and crannies that are on the tractor. And I say, what I'm looking to do is, let's put a bit of that up on the stack, and what I'm looking to do is just put a bit of texture into the dirt on here. And it's great. I love weathering powders because they if you don't have an airbrush, or like me, you're sometimes just too lazy to set the thing up, they're a great way of adding a bit of dirt to a model. And I say, you get some texture as well, which is quite important for certainly 7mm models, and I think for a lot of 4mm models you gain a bit as well. Let's see, just putting a bit of lighter shades in there, looking just to blend the colours. I'm a big fan of trying to blend the colours. Let's have a bit of the grey as well. What the heck? A little bit of grey, and while I'm at it, of course, I've got this very nice charcoal black, charcoal black, perfect for the smokes, the exhaust, smokestack, whatever you want to call it. And it is a phenomenally messy job using weathering powders. I won't lie to you. I'm working over a sheet of white paper here simply because I want to keep the photo booth reasonably clean. I'm now working it over with a larger brush as well. Big fan, just keep working over these things with big and little brushes. These are quite stiff brushes, so they'll really work the colour into the model. It's quite important. I don't tend to seal models. I tend to leave them untouched once the powder's on, and just hopefully then I don't handle them too much. It doesn't seem to be much of a problem. Let's get a bit of brown into those wheels, because it is a tractor after all. There ought to be a bit of muck in those wheels there. A lot of the colours you're going to choose will be dependent on the sort of area and the sort of dirt you find in the area you're working in. I'm just putting a bit of black onto those tyres because I think I've overdone it a little bit with the lighter colours. But a quick dusting of black will cover up the worst of the sins there, and a little bit more brown onto the. I think that's the flywheel casing, because this is a single cylinder tractor, so there'll be a honking great big flywheel on the other side to keep the thing moving. And there we have it. It's already started to tone down a little bit, but there is another product I'd like to try that will be even more appropriate for this tractor. Okay, so we now have a nice dusty, rusty tractor, but what do tractors mean? Tractors mean farms, and what do farms mean? Farms mean mud. And dealing with mud has always been a bit tricky, especially in the larger scales. But hurrah, Mr. Hobby to the rescue. We have some weathering pastes. Now these are completely new to me. I've never seen them anywhere before. And basically they are pots of mud. There we are. It's a sort of mucky paste, this stuff. And it's quite sticky, and it actually has the consistency of mud. We've got two colours here, brown mud and sort of light brown mud. So it looks a bit like chocolate mousse actually, but I'm sure we don't want to be eating that sort of thing. Now what I'm going to do is aim to get them onto the treads of the tractor wheels. I'm just spooning them on with a screwdriver, and look at that. That is lovely, thick, claggy mud. The sort of stuff that you get on your boots when you're walking around, and it's an absolute pig of a stuff to get off again. And you cart it into the house, and you get in trouble because you've made a mess in the house. Rub a bit with your finger. Always useful to get your finger involved in these. Let's have a bit of lighter mud out of there. Some of my BRM colleagues, and I'm looking at you, Andy York, have been distinctly rude about what this colour is, but well, this is a family show, so we'll stick with mud. There we are. Look at that, and you can see I'm already building up quite a nice muddy wheel there. And this is really easy to use because it is literally a paste. I'm putting it on with a screwdriver because I want to be all fine scale and try to get it in the right place. But you probably could spoon it on a bit faster if you were in a hurry. But heck, this is model making. We're not in a tearing hurry. But look at that, really filling up the treads on the tractor. What you could, I mean, this stuff is ideal for model making. Probably not ideal if you want to try and do something like Gateway or something, as you need quite a lot of it. Although for a small area, heck, why not? There we go, and I'll just wipe the worst of it off on my finger. Look at that, and it's actually really lovely. Really, I mean, this stuff's horrible. I mean, it is that horrible mud that you get onto your. It's that horrible mud you get on your boots when you're when you're on the farm, so to speak. I'm choosing an old bit of kitchen towel here. You can see it's pretty mucky, and again just wiping the worst of it off the sides of the tyres. But you can see I've filled up that tyre quite nicely. That's actually pretty mucky, and I can also run it backwards and forwards and leave some mucky marks on the track. But again, filling up the just getting that onto there, and that's looking really rather nice. Now I'll put a bit on, obviously got to put a bit on the front wheels as well, and bit on the front wheels, rub it in, and there we go. It's we're getting there. Now if you've got mud, it must be fairly damp out there. And actually, let's put a bit of mud in the where the boots of the of your farmer will be. Put a bit of that in there as well. See, that's filling up the checker plates quite nicely. Not too much of it. Yeah, your farmer will get the worst. He'll get the worst of it. Let's take some out with my handy brush. Oh, look at that. That's looking really rather nice and muddy. Yeah, get that in your car, you'll be trying to clean it out for a while, but it's got just the right consistency, this stuff. Anyway, okay, what I was saying is, where there's mud, there's probably water, which means things get damp, and that's where. Now this is the final product, wet clear weathering paste. Now this is literally it's clear goop. So I'm going to put a little bit in there, just where the water would sit. I don't want to put lots of this on. The military guys will probably put a fair bit more on this one, but it's an effect that you need to be fairly subtle with. So we're having a little bit of goop around there, and that will do the job. Right, I'll just do a bit more mud on my tractor, and then I'll show you the finished result. And there we have it, a really mucky tractor. Plenty of dirt on that, but then hey, that's what tractors do, isn't it?